Welcome back for another daily crypto market update. BTC closed up nominally higher at 0.41% yesterday, but this is a huge push above the daily TBO cloud. Like, this is an amazing move. Other things that look really, really good is that daily RSI shot back up. It exceeded the high over here, but it really needs to push above 84.04 that was set on last Friday in order for it to be really strong bullish. But on other metrics, I mean, on-balance volume going higher and higher is a good sign. It is kind of topping out, but the moving average is moving up. And of course, volume does not, well, it's not exceeding the moving average, so therefore it doesn't look super duper strong bullish. Now, others did close above overhead resistance yesterday, which is great. Today, it's above it again. We want 3 days in a row above this line. We'll see what happens. Unfortunately, daily RSI is showing a really strong sign of weakness as it's falling lower and lower, which isn't a good thing. When we look at volume, it's okay, but it's not like wildly exceeding the yellow moving average. But the moving average for on-balance volume is moving higher. So this is a good sign. It's just the price isn't seeing that huge excitement yet. Now, I don't talk about TradFi too much on these because I talk about crypto, but I think it's worth noting that S&P futures closed up almost 2% on Friday's close. This is a huge, huge drastic difference from where we were back here at the beginning of April. S&P has recovered 16% after dumping. Now, there are a couple of other things we need to watch in terms of this. For one, RSI has had an incredible recovery and now it's closed overbought, which could mean that we could have a short-term pullback, but really we're just looking at a super oversold chart recovering, which is good. Plus on-balance volume is now back above the white moving average and it's moving up higher. If we go to the weekly time frame, this is the big signal. Forget the lines because it's just how the thing works on the weekly time frame. But the big accomplishment is that S&P futures has retraced back to the TBO fast line, that thick green line right there. That's the first touch that we should expect after seeing a TBO close long. So if you panicked when you saw this on the weekly, we had to wait another 6 weeks. So instead of us panic selling down here, we're actually able to buy the dip and sell when it comes back up. So if you've been in the Better Traders Club for any amount of time, you would know that in order for S&P and TradFi to be really bullish, we really need to see it close above the weekly cloud and honestly to test and break above this area, the TBO resistance dotted lines right there. That has to happen. Now, this is good looking RSI and that it's recovering really well. On-balance volume still a long way to go before it runs into the moving average, but this is a good sign. Another good sign is that the volatility index of the S&P 500 has fallen yet again, indicating that there's a significant lack of fear in the markets, which is a good sign for recovery, which is actually translating into gold doing nothing, or actually, let me flip it around. Bitcoin is continuing to outperform gold, and we have a successfully closed TBO open long on yesterday's close, which is an amazing sign. I do still expect that Bitcoin will outperform gold for the next 4 to 5 months. So gold had an incredible high. It shot up like crazy, almost up to $3,500, but it has since pulled back like I was expecting it to. And then it closed inside of the daily TBO cloud. It basically did a doji candle yesterday. So I'm looking at this thinking that it's going to continue to chop sideways, which is exactly what I've been saying since this has happened, even from back over here. So let's keep going on. All these green tags indicate something to do with the TBO. So all these are letting us know that TBO open long is in progress, which is good, or it's winning right now. If you've been watching these updates, you should know that I said, oh man, even though KASPA is having a pullback, it's pulling back right to the TBO fast line. I won't be surprised to see it shoot up about 16% to the TBO resistance line right there. Here we are, just 3 days later until that finally happened. S had a really nice pump on Thursday. Yesterday, it successfully printed a TBO open long. Today, it's just a little bit red so far. It's not really a big deal. I'm mostly paying attention to volume and how volume has just wildly outperformed the moving average. That's a good sign. At the start of any rally, when volume continues to outperform the moving average, price action is going to do a little bit of this. It's going to be uncertain, but we're going to see it after the fact and go, oh man, that was so obvious. That was so clear. QNT, this one had a really nice pump as well on Thursday. Yesterday, it closed up again, 3%, and it printed a TBO open long. This is awesome, especially considering the fact that we're talking about this one as an example of how TBO breakouts can help to predict breakouts, how the TBO close shorts can give us insight into when we might see a reversal. So it's proof in the pudding. IMX Immutable, this one closed up 10% and it printed a TBO open long yesterday with a nice burst of volume. Even though it put in a lower high on daily RSI, this is still a really good sign. And we are in bullish consolidation, which means that we're going to continue to see IMX go up and down inside the cloud for a while. It's just going to do a whole lot of this, but eventually it's going to be moving its way higher, something like that. Sand, as in sandbox. This printed a TBO open long yesterday. I know it doesn't look hopeful, especially with RSI falling like this and looking kind of weak. But when I look at on balance, excuse me, on balance volume and the moving average here, this is looking really strong. Even though the price action looks really weak, we want to pay attention to momentum indicators like this. And honestly, it's been moving up higher ever since February. Now, the price hasn't. The price has actually been going lower and lower. So you have some conflicting signals here. But I do believe that Sandbox will be making a rally up higher. BitTorrent had a really amazing pump last weekend. It pumped up over 2 days. What is this? 32%, and it's retraced almost back to the TBO fast line. But more interestingly, it printed a TBO open long yesterday with a really weak red candle. So we want to continue to keep a watch on this one. But this is a really promising sign that we could see a follow-up pump, and a target would be here at 8,200. Well, actually just below it. ENS, this one is actually a trade setup that I shared in the Better Traders Club a while ago, and we are in the profit zone just a little bit though, nothing like amazing. We're only up, what, like 16%? But the good news, let me go ahead and hide this, is that we printed a TBO open long yesterday. Yay. RSI has been in a crazy overbought streak now for 11 days, which is incredible. On-balance volume continues to rip and roar higher, which is really good. Volume hasn't continued rather, to exceed the yellow 30-day moving average, but this is a great sign of bullish continuation we should expect for ENS. AR, this one had a really nice close on Friday, and it also printed a TBO open long. Look at the volume, look at that. Look at on-balance volume just ticking up higher like that. And look at RSI just going right back into overbought territory. So this chart's just getting started. Plus, it pumped above this local high right over here at 777. Well, that's a good sign. So it will take time, but AR is slowly moving up to the top of the cloud. As it moves up higher, we should also keep in mind that this one chops a lot, and there is historical TBO resistance here at about 1340 that we got to watch out for. Cash Network, AKT, this one had some really exciting moves this week. Wednesday pumped 13%, Thursday pumped 9%, but with the wick, it actually pumped a lot higher. And then Friday, yesterday's newly closed candle, printed a TBO open long. Look at this volume. That's massive. Look at RSI making a higher high. That is huge. And on-balance volume is just insane. So this chart is looking really good. This is the one I had in mind in regards to TBO closed short clusters and breakout clusters. I mean, this has worked out amazingly. Now, just these last three charts, there's a couple of things to pay attention to. Hype, this one had a TBO breakout cluster. It took a while for it to break out, only like 24%. I usually like to see more for that. But when we get this like flip-flop, we go open short, open long, open short, open long. Once we start a new open long, then we're going to get more of these breakouts. Now, regrettably, we don't see a cluster of these breakouts. They're getting kind of like separated, but they're happening on these pumps. I still think that Hyperliquid is bullish. I do believe that Hyperliquid will be moving back up here to the TBO resistance level at about $29. It's not going to be up in a straight line, but I like the fact that it's just chopping a lot and it's fighting to move up higher. Now, these next two are not so great. For one, while SUI has been an amazing performer over the last 2 weeks, pumping here from last Monday on the 21st, up 80% in 4 days, anytime price action gets caught and it gets really stale and stable, closing what, 1%, negative 1%, 0.15%, all this stuff, this is always bearish. I can't say always, but 95% of the time it's bearish. This is what I was expecting to have happen for BTC. It's almost not identical, but it's really similar. So whenever we see price action get really trapped like this, it's not a good sign. And other things that I'm looking at here, daily RSI really fell lower. It closed at 69.09. It's no longer overbought, but we've also been noticing a trend here where daily RSI has been putting in lower highs, which is letting us know, eek, we should be seeing a pullback. Now, it's not an insane pullback by any means. We are still seeing a lot of interest in terms of volume, which is rolling over into on-balance volume. So on the 4-hour time frame, a good short-term pullback range would probably be here, about 278 in my opinion. I think that's a reasonable target for a pullback, given it had a high right here. We'll just have to see how the chart reacts. There's also on the daily time frame, there is TBO support / resistance at about 290 as well. But a good target for a pullback after a big move like this is usually going to be the TBO fast line. We might exceed the fast line and fall a little bit lower, but this is usually a good target for a pullback. AAVE, our last one today, this one has not been able to pierce and close above right there. That was a weird circle, the 0.5 fib level. If you watched my video on the Coin Bureau trading channel yesterday, I talked a lot about fibs and the importance of these levels forward facing as support or resistance levels. And AAVE is struggling a lot, even though it has 1, 2, now day 3 above this overhead resistance line. It's struggling a lot with this fib level, which means that we should respect it. We should see what's happening. We should also expect that when it breaks above, there will be a lot of price action that will be resisting moving above the 618. But for now, it's still stalling. Now, I want to encourage you guys to go deeper. There's so much available to you to level up your trading, and that happens at thebettertraders.com. I would love for you to take one of our courses. I highly recommend taking 15 Minutes to Financial Freedom. It's a good beginner / intermediate course. Talk about bot trading, talk about automated trading, talk about the TBO. But if you just want to get access to the TBO, join the Better Traders Club and join the Trader or the Pro tier. That is a great place to start. Plus, there's an amazing community of other traders there that are learning and growing and profiting together. And I also want to remind you that I will be in Toronto on May 15th in about 2 weeks at a special Better Trader Summit in partnership with Altrady. Tickets are going fast. We only have space for 30 people because it's a small hotel conference room. But I would love to see as many of you there as we possibly can. So make sure to reserve your ticket now. And until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.